Now, here's a question for Alba supporters. Have you ever heard of somebody called Alistair Jack, the Secretary of State for Scotland? No, I didn't think you had. Well, he's actually in danger of becoming known as the Secretary of State against Scotland. Anyway, this character has revealed that waiting for the Tories to allow a referendum on independence will be like waiting for Godot. He'll be awaiting forever, 25 years. He wants 60% of this and 60% of that, and 25 years later, they might think about it.
Is that once a generation has passed, what would be the trigger? And the trigger, I think, in my mind, and I look to what's the situation in Northern Ireland, for instance, if 60% of people wanted a referendum and that position was sustained for over 12 months, if 60% of the people wanted independence and that position was sustained for over 12 months, then I can see that there would be a desire for a referendum. But it can't come every 5 or 6 or 7 years.
And how long is a generation?
At least 25 years.
Now, I know that Alistair is a bit of a Union joke rather than a Union Jack. I mean, he talks about Northern Ireland, but seems oblivious to the fact that it was a 7-year term was put into the Good Friday Agreement between border poles. 7 years, that's 2014 to 2021. Alistair Jack says that MSPs are gaming the system if they're on the list, despite his own party leader being a list MSP. And then, oops, he's never met anyone who's losing £20 in universal credit. Obviously, someone who doesn't even talk to his constituents. So Alistair Jack is not a political giant. But the key point is it's not up to him or to Boris Johnson or to Alex Salmond or even to Nicola Sturgeon to decide when the Scots have the right to decide on an independence referendum. It's up to the Scottish people to decide when they're going to exert the right of self-determination. And they have so decided, not just at one election, but at 5 elections running. And it's the job of politicians to deliver the wishes of the Scottish people. And speaking of delivery, we should be a bit concerned about an interview in the Financial Times with Nicola Sturgeon. She says that time is on her side about delivering a referendum. Really? But does Scotland have time on its side? The people who are losing their £20, have they time on their side? The businesses losing the European markets, have they time on their side? Do we have time on our side to establish a Scottish state company to reap the harvest of our vast renewable offshore resources? So the Alba message is to assert the majority in the Parliament for independence now. Start the independence negotiations. And a referendum might be part of that process. But what we can do now is to mobilise a campaign of popular pressure, of legal initiatives, of international initiatives on the right of Scotland to self-determination. What we can't do, what we mustn't do, is constantly march people up to the top of the hill and tell them that a referendum is just around the corner without any sign whatsoever of a strategy to deliver it. Because unless you start that campaign on Scotland's right to self-determination, you'll never finish it. Now let me tell you about Alba's first ever National Executive Committee meeting last week. Big decisions. Tasmeen Ahmed Sheikh was confirmed as the party chair after the fantastic job she did at the conference. Incidentally, conference highlights are coming out very soon by popular demand. The NEC set National Council for the 27th of November. It'll be in Fife, and there's a major party fundraiser dinner in early December in Glasgow. Above all, we are starting the process for a major political challenge at the council elections next year. You'll have already seen the email from Mike McKenzie, our local government convener, asking for people interested in standing. You can be sure that we mean business. Our organisation convener, Stevie Graham, has 250,000 recruitment leaflets for local organisations. And some people are already off the mark in getting them delivered, like our activists in Airdrie and Shotts this week. So look out for activity from your local Alba campaign and join up, and above all, join in.